All right, good evening. It is 5:30 PM and I would like to call the Personal and Finance and Residential Neighborhoods Committee meeting to order. I believe Clerk Bianca, you have some words that you would like to mention before we start the meeting, and then we'll take a roll call.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, members of the public. For audio quality, we will be muting everyone not speaking by default to maintain good audio quality for council members and yourselves. If you would like to speak during the meeting, during the public portion, please submit your request in the chat. Directions to do so will be listed. We ask that you provide your full name and address, as those are required for all speakers at in-person council meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you want to call the roll, whichever committee you prefer to start with.
I'm going to call the roll for both personnel and finance and residential neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Committee member Thomas Morgan. Committee member Dr. Davis.
Present.
Committee Vice Chair White.
Present.
Committee Chair Noskowski.
Present.
For residential neighborhoods, Councilmember McBride.
Present.
Councilmember Good Rogers.
Present.
Citizen member Gabriel Mercil is here.
Here.
Committee Vice Chair Noskowski.
Present.
Committee Chair White.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and open up the meeting with just a few comments regarding Bill 4325. This will be the third public hearing that we're having on this bill. I had set up prior to the first reading of this bill, like a workshop or discussion with council members to let them know that this bill was coming down the pipe, and give the opportunity for our city legal to have a discussion with them about what the bill was about, giving us 2 weeks to be able to disseminate the information, send questions to Jenna or Miss Sandy Kennedy for feedback prior to the regular meeting. After that, we did have the regular meeting, council meeting, to where it was given a no recommendation out of committee. And it went to the committee of the whole, where it has yet to be voted on to be able to advance to the full council. At that time in the committee of the whole, there was a motion made to table the bill at the request and what I felt was more needed dialogue with council members. That bill will then be coming up on Monday in committee of the whole. It'll be up to the chairman of that committee if he's going to have a fourth public hearing or if we will just be voting on the bill. And I would like to thank everyone for their time and efforts. We've collected a lot of information. Ms. Jenna Throw has been kind enough to respond to everything that's been asked or requested of her. She also sent some documents in your inboxes if you haven't been there yet. With the City South Bend Bill 4325 fact sheet, which is very helpful. She also did a flow chart, and she also answered the questions that I had gathered to me. I don't know about Ms. White, from council members that she will be addressing today. So with that, I will turn it over to the committee chair for residential neighborhoods, Councilmember Karen White.
I'll try to talk a little bit. Good afternoon, everyone. The Residential Neighborhood Committee, we're just working very closely with the Personnel and Finance Committee on this bill. Our discussion and our part would focus directly on Bill 4325. And I did not receive any further comments. I think they were sent directly to you, Chair.
Okay.
And I appreciate the opportunity that we have and the public is giving, if they choose to come, that they will have another opportunity to have their questions and issues. And I appreciate the clarity and also the definitions that legal has provided because it clears up a lot of, misunderstanding and, who is, able to request and what does that mean? And do you have to have a APRO request? So I really appreciate the work that they've done on this bill.
Thank you. And I would also like to recognize that Kali Connell is also online, and I believe that she has some comments that she would like to make to the joint committee. So with that, I will turn it over to our presenter, who's going to be briefly going over some of the questions and the fact sheet. And then Kylie will also have a presentation for us, and then we'll go to the public hearing portion. And thank you for being and taking your time to be with the committee this afternoon.
Absolutely. Get my screen shared real quick. And I understand the council members have this document in front of them, but I wanted to also put it up on the screen so that it was easy for everyone to see. So in response to some of the questions that we had received and just kind of generally a desire to put together some of the information about this bill in a more straightforward approach, we've collectively worked on putting together this FAQ page. And as some of the questions came in from council members, we incorporated those answers into these FAQs. And Bill 43-25 covers some different topics, but we've been mostly talking about the portion regarding body camera videos. So that's where I mentioned where we say, what is this bill about? It is about a few different things, but we've been mostly focusing on the video portion of it. And so we have the question of what happens when someone asks for a video. And Kylie will go through this in more detail with some of the flow charts and the recordings of the process that she's helped put together. That will really show in detail, what does a request look like as it's being entered into our system? What does it look like on our end when we're going through the redaction process? I know that was a specific request that was made, so we got that put together, as well as a flow chart of how it works through the city's processes. So that will be in the materials that that Kylie has. So this is just kind of a written explanation briefly of that process, where when we get a request for a police video, we find the video, watch it, blur out information that's necessary, and generally consider what's the status of the case. Is there anything about the case that would make the video not appropriate to share? And then is explaining that that process takes time, and that also sometimes there's requests for many videos where the questions that someone has about the call that they're asking on could potentially be answered by one or two videos. And one of the things that we want to work on is helping people decide if they want all of the videos that are available or if they want to narrow down their request. Right now, if a request is made for all of the videos, we take that at face value and generate a response including all of the videos. So then turning to, what does the bill say about this process? And just indicates that if someone wants a copy of the video to take home, that they may need to pay for that effort that's involved to get the recording ready. And as we've previously discussed in other hearings, that cost is $50 per hour, but no one ever has to pay more than $150 total for any one recording. That's pursuant to state law. And then if someone just wants to watch the video, then that does not have a cost. So this was one of the questions that specifically came up with. What kind of videos does the bill apply to? And that's where the definition of law enforcement recordings comes in. And law enforcement recordings are videos of police activity captured by cameras worn by police or attached to their vehicles that are provided or used by police in the scope of their duties. And so the way that that statute's written pretty much carves out body camera and motor vehicle footage because it specifies cameras that are worn by the police, which are the body cameras, or attached to their vehicles, which are the motor vehicle recordings. And then the next question that we addressed are when are videos created? And that addressed a question that came up with the council members regarding how the activation of the cameras works. And in some situations, this happens automatically, or the officers can start the recordings manually. With body camera videos, those can be activated by entering the GPS area that the officer was dispatched to. When the door of their vehicle opens, when they, upon hitting a speed thresholds, activating their emergency lights, or again manually. And then with the motor vehicle recordings, those are activated by speed, emergency light activation, or manually. So then turning to some of the other questions about opportunities to receive the videos without paying these review and redaction costs. There's several categories of people that can watch videos without having to pay that review fee. One example is people who are part of a criminal court case when they use the criminal court process to get the videos. And this is related to the criminal discovery process. And also, people or attorneys who are part of a civil court case can use a subpoena to get videos. That doesn't go through this, this cost allocation process. Also, as we've discussed, people who watch video through the CPRB or other groups like the Family Justice Center, Internal Affairs, or the prosecutor's office. There could be opportunities, depending on circumstances, with folks in different situations to go through one of these organizations to view video. And then just the general ability for people to inspect video pursuant to the statute, which involves having to come to the city to watch it. So then the next question, what is a requester? We've talked a lot about that term, and so that was one of the specific definitions that we were asked to help clarify. And mainly a requester is a person who is involved with a video in some specific way. This is a variety of areas. This could be a person who was actually depicted in the video. It also includes someone who the inside of their property was shown on the video. Or it includes victims of crime, injury, or property damage if the video depicts what happened to them. And then some of the policy justifications behind the bill. Why is this rule important? It is anticipated to help the city save time and money. And also, I know this was discussed a bit at the Committee of the Whole last week. It ensures that the business entities who are able to pay aren't getting free work that costs the taxpayers money for everyone. And it still makes sure that people can see what happened on police video if in circumstances where they need to. And so ultimately, the purpose of the bill is if someone wants to take a copy with them, that the bill and the underlying statutes provide for people to help pay to get that copy. But if there's really good reasons for wanting access to the video, like one of the requester situations, or going to CPRB, the prosecutor's office, IA, Family Justice Center, people can still get access to footage without paying that cost to be able to view it. And so I know Kylie has some additional materials to share related to the actual processes that are involved in responding to a request. So I will stop sharing and turn over to Kylie.
Oh, I did have one
Oh,
question
sorry.
I forgot to include on that
Absolutely.
list that just came today. And what the question was is when they're viewing that footage, where do they view it? So if you have redacted it, is someone from the legal team with them when they review it? Are they by themselves in a room? It was a question that came to me this afternoon.
Right.
Sorry.
So I believe historically, when there have been opportunities to inspect, if that has gone all the way to where the person would come, I think and Kylie, please correct me if you have additional information, but I believe those typically would occur at the police department. However, with the new setup of the new city hall, we're anticipating of being able to accommodate those requests to inspect if they occur in some of the first floor meeting areas. And it would be anticipated that someone would sit with them from someone from the city administration, just to go through the process.
Okay, thank you. And I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no problem.
So are we gonna ask questions in between her and Kylie or no?
That question I didn't get added to this in time before she prepared the document. So I think we'll let Kylie go through it and then we can all answer the questions after that. Is that agreeable with everyone?
That's fine. Okay, I wanna know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Kylie Connell, Assistant City Attorney, offices at 701 West Samples. And I just wanted to briefly go over some of the processing of AFRAs. Bear with me one moment. All right, so getting into the actual process of what that looks like when somebody is submitting a request for records. So we have a digital form now, and they can access it at this website, and it's easily accessible from the city website. They type in their name, their address, type in their email and phone number so they can be reached, and the records, if they can be sent digitally back to them. Then on the next page, it's given which department that they want to request from. The main ones are police and fire, but there's other options, as you see right here, other departments that they can request from as well. Once you've selected the department, then you narrow down which records. You click any of the records that you want, fill in the incident, the address. You can fill in a person of interest if you have a name. And that's the information that PD first uses for body cam and MVR footage. Then there's an opportunity to be more specific. So oftentimes people will include a defendant's name, a suspect's name, a witness, somebody who is on scene, any information. Sometimes they don't include more and they only leave it at name or date and location. Then you specify how you want to receive the records, inspect or buy, and then also how you would like to, how you want request the records, inspect or buy, and how you would like to receive them. Typically, nobody asks to inspect records. It's pretty rare that anybody does ask to inspect records. And we have had it set up so that they can come to the legal department or they can go to PD. And somebody does have to watch them because in the code, it specifically says that you cannot record with like your phone or your own device the recording that you're watching, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of inspecting it if you're making your own copy of it. Then you type in your name, say that you're not a robot like we do for everything. And it's a pretty simple process just to submit that record.
I don't know if maybe Kylie was waiting on me to present this slide, but then she can.
Oh, no,
jump-
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking the whole time, Jen. I apologize. I
Oh,
must have
sorry.
muted myself by accident. I'm sorry. I apologize. So the requester starts here in the middle. So they submitted their form. It goes to the APRA administrator and sends the request to PD. And this is all digitally. PD gets a copy of the request. PD goes through the status of the case, meaning whether it's open in criminal court or if it's really old and there wouldn't be any body cam still saved from it. And then they also pull records for legal to be able to pull the body cam. So they pull like the officers that are listed on the report. There's a simplified report that PD can pull and send to legal. They don't actually pull the records for us because it's all in our Polaris system, the software system. So there's no point for PD to download the records without having been redacted for us to view, just to have to go back in Polaris and redact it. So they have it in Polaris. Then we go in, look at what's going on with the case. If the case is open, then we don't even bother, typically, depending on the requester. Typically, if the case is open in criminal court, it's not even going to be released. It may be released in certain circumstances, such as if it's the victim who's requesting it, or other requester types who are requesting it. But otherwise, we wouldn't even open the body cam and start viewing it. We would just deny it. But that's that first assessment that we look at. Then if it's something that is going to be disclosed, we're going to go in, look it up in Polaris, download. I call it downloading, but it's processing the video to be able to redact it in the software. So you have to process it first so that it saves a non-original copy. Then we go through the process of redacting. Then we have to download that video from the software to our computers or to the whatever drive we're using. Then once the records have all been reviewed, redacted, downloaded, then we notify the administrator the records are ready. The administrator sends those records back to PD to say, all right, these records are ready to be released, and PD releases those records. Then I did set up a redaction video as well. So let me pull that up. And there is some audio. It's not super important to hear the audio, so I'll try to keep it down kind of low, and then talk through. I'm not going to talk through the whole thing. It is kind of long, but I will explain why we made it the way that we made it, and hopefully it'll be kind of clear. So when we enter in Polaris, we have to enter in the date, the time. We have to narrow down. If we know the officer, then we narrow down by the officer. And we don't want to narrow it down by too much more, otherwise it gets a little too restricted. So usually it's just date, time, and officer. Then we would do the search. Then based off of what we know from the police report, we would select the correct video. Then we have to process it. So that's where we give the file a name. We give the reason so that there's an audit log of why we're getting a copy of this video. Then this becomes the non-original. So the original is still preserved, but this becomes the redaction editing side of it. So typically when we're watching it, we're going to kind of do a quick walkthrough, looking at it first, depending on how long it is. Usually when I do it, I stop it as I see things, especially if it's a longer video. And the kind of things we're looking for, which if you can kind of hear in there, would be like social security numbers, date of birth, addresses of individuals whose their addresses should not be released. And if we hear any of that, then we're going to pause it. We're going to go in and mute the audio. And this is showing how we mute the audio. And for each audio section, it can be a separate purple Mark. Then we continue on, watch what the officer is approaching, see if there's anything that needs to be redacted. If there's any juvenile, we would have to redact the juvenile if we believe it to be a juvenile. Then this is showing the redaction process. So we have to select the frames, mark where we want it to be in each frame. The software is somewhat intuitive. So if you give it like a start and an end, then it'll show you it'll track the in between. Sometimes the tracking is accurate and sometimes the tracking is not. This black box is not a great depiction of like what the actual redaction is usually like a solid box, but because when I'm redacting, you can actually see through the box that I'm making. So you can like see the face, you could see the information for the person, their driver's license, their registration. Like while I'm redacting it, I can still see the image so that I can make sure I'm tracking it right. But then when it comes out, it would be a solid box. So I had to put this black blur over it so that during this redaction, you seeing the redaction live, you wouldn't see anything that you shouldn't be seeing. But that green box is what I'm actively working on in the redaction process. Now, as you can see, as much as the officers, as you think about how much you move when you're just standing there, their camera kind of goes around and you have to redact that person as the officer moves. Then once we've made the redactions, we have to go in and save it so we can see what we actually did and get like the actual, what the public would see. We want to see it first. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm saving the copy. I'm saying I want you to generate these redactions that I've made. I have to wait for the generation to happen. And as you can imagine, this video is actually only 1 minute and 13 seconds long. For longer videos, this generating time can take a much longer period, sometimes even up to an hour, more than an hour. It's even enough where you just have to leave it and come back the next day for when it's actually generated the preview that you're waiting for. And as you can see, for a moment there, you can see the person's face. Once I see that in the redaction edit, then I have to go back, make sure my keyframes are right, and fix that so that I can generate a new preview that is covering their face for the entire time. And again, this is just an example, not saying that we would have to cover a person's face in this situation, but this is just an example of redaction. And then I'm going back through, making sure that the box is where I want it to be, covering what I need it to cover. Putting in new keyframes is what it's called. Make sure it's tracking appropriately. Then I'm saving another copy so that I can make sure that this new redaction keyframes that I added accurately reflect what I want it to. So this is creating what is hopefully the final copy. And I review it one more time just to make sure. And in some circumstances, if I'm reviewing a video that I've already seen a couple times, I would speed it up. For purposes of this video, I did not speed up my review. Then once I'm ready, I can publish. That's downloading a copy. When it downloads, I only have the option to save it as an MP4 video. I save it in the location that I want to save it, and there it is. Again, with a longer video, it can take a much longer time for it to download. This video was only 1 minute and 13 seconds, so the downloading was pretty quick. So as you can see, even just for what's seemingly a simple video, just a routine traffic stop, there could be things that need to be redacted. There are things that need to be listened to make sure that we're muting anything that needs to be muted. And there's just a process that's involved. So that even just that 1 minute and 13-second video took approximately 10 minutes of recording time from start to finish. And with that, I will turn it back over to Jenna.
I didn't have anything else to present, but I came back up for any questions.
Could you show that flow chart? Do you have that where it shows the comparison between the county and the city?
Yes.
I think that's important, just in case some people didn't get to their emails to see the comparison cost between the two municipalities.
While I'm pulling that up and sharing my screen, one of the things that that I noticed in comparing that flow chart is that for shorter videos, the city was almost always the less expensive fee schedule.
You say that again? I couldn't hear that when the
Yeah.
last part of your sentence.
Absolutely. I have the comparison pulled up now. But as you can, like what I did was I broke down a 15-minute video, 30-minute video, 45-minute video. And for each time frame up to an hour and 45 minutes, the city was the less expensive cost, comparing the two fee schedules. And like and then once you get above an hour and 45 minutes, then it kind of just depends on where you're at in the county's fee schedule based on our hourly rate. But for the shorter videos, the city's fee schedule results in a lower cost to the person requesting a copy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. White, do you have any comments as the chair from residential neighborhoods?
No, I was just, want to clarify with the Citizen Review Board, only the director can look at the videos. At least that's my understanding. The board does not look at them. Is that correct?
So that can answer that. That's at this time. There is
At
an
this time,
option.
okay.
There could be an option. We just haven't reached that process
Mhm,
yet
okay.
of when the board would need to. It's
Mhm.
like we have said previously, that board's still pretty new, and we're trying to see how that summary process can go before
Okay.
making it an automatic that they're going to see every single video.
And looking at all the videos that you have looked through for 2024 and I guess 2025, how many of them have been over, say, 30 minutes, and how many of them are the shortest videos, percentage-wise?
Kylie, do you have any feedback on that? I know Kylie is involved in the day-to-day of reviewing those videos much more. I help sometimes, but
Mhm.
Kylie's more involved in the day-to-day of that.
So I pulled up just for a month worth, but I would if you give me 1 second to pull that up. And it might take me a second. It might be better actually to go to another question and I can come back. I do have it for 1 month, but it is going to take me a moment to pull that up.
So Chair Niskoski, if you want to, are there any residential committee members who may have any questions?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and let you start
Okay,
with your
just let me
committee.
Go ahead, yeah.
You want to?
Okay, are there any residential committee members that has any questions that you would like? I know Miss Sophia, I'm sorry, Second District Representative, you had some questions, and I moved to our citizen member. And then
Yes,
just go
I
through
have
all
a-
of the members of the residential committee.
I have some combined questions, okay?
Mhm.
First, I'd like to know, when the police get off duty at night, where does that body camera go? Is that
Are you referring to the video footage or the
Yeah.
physical camera?
the whatever he done recorded for the night, where does it go?
So I would defer to Kylie for additional information, but
Okay.
the system that's used is the Polaris system that Kylie was working in to do the redaction example. And so I believe that the video, once it's captured, is part of the Polaris system, and that's where it can be, it goes by retention guidelines, and then it can be accessed for public records requests. And Kylie, do you have any other
Yep.
information on that?
So it depends kind of on their cell coverage or their coverage of, for lack of better terms, internet. So depending on where they are at in that coverage or where their police vehicle is at, as long as they're in a good coverage area, it will immediately upload to Polaris.
Okay.
If they're not in a great coverage or if it's a very large video, then it'll take longer, so it won't be immediate, and it could wait until they get to a better coverage area for it to upload. But usually it's pretty quick that it gets into the system. Like it's not waiting around for them to turn it in or to click a button for it to go up into the cloud, for lack of better terms. It's pretty immediate.
So when I want to get me, or I want to just I just want to view the video, okay? So now where am I gonna go to view the video at? Am I gonna go sit with a policeman and watch the video? Am I going to the prosecuting attorney? Am I going to the lawyer's office? I mean, the legal department? Where will I get to go see this video at?
So that may depend on the circumstances. If the reason that you or anyone else is looking to view a video is already related to something that maybe the prosecutor's office is helpful for, or the CPRB, or Family Justice Center, then like as we've mentioned, those organizations can help facilitate getting access to view video. If none of those situations quite apply, or you're not really like involved with working with one of those organizations, then I think Kylie mentioned that in the past, like currently, sometimes people have viewed video at the legal department, but generally it would be viewed at the police department. But we've also talked about with the configuration of the new city hall, that potentially the first floor facilities at the new city hall would be available for review as well.
Well, I think what I'm asking too is, if I just then had an incident with the police, okay, say I just got, beat up and stuff, okay?
Mhm.
Now I gotta go, are you telling me well, I guess what I'm asking, do I have to go to the police and sit down with a policeman now to
So-
view a video that's
That's a great question, Councilwoman. I think that kind of situation that might potentially involve the CPRB. So that might be a situation where you could sit down with Mr. King to watch the video without even going through this process. But and that's where coming to City Hall, we're also looking at as an option. I don't know currently who sits with someone to make sure that they're not recording. But I think there would definitely be sensitivities that someone in that position may not want to sit with a police officer.
And I can answer further on that. So typically a police officer is not going to be the one who's sitting in to observe that inspection. It would only be if I could think of a circumstance where maybe a detective who has a relationship with somebody already. In relationship, I mean like it's a witness or it's a victim and they want to view some of the footage. And so the detective has already built that rapport with that individual and may spend the time to show them that video. That would be the only circumstance. Otherwise, it would be administrative in the records department. It would be administrative in the legal department, possibly an attorney. It would be Captain Heron. It would be Charles King. So it would be pretty rarely would it be an officer, but for Captain Heron is obviously an officer who would sit with the individual and go through the inspection. And certainly if it's an inspection only for APRA, like specifically for APRA, that they have no complaint associated with it whatsoever, then it would be an administrative staff or an attorney from the legal department.
So like what I just explained, I've been through this process with the police. I've been hurt and stuff. Now, I don't want to deal with no policeman right now because that would be the last person I would want to be with right now.
Mhm.
So now what's going to happen if I say, hey, I can't do it. I can't do this with you. I can't. What are we going to do now? Where now will I go see the video at?
So like Kylie mentioned, it is hardly ever actually, the process exists right now, it is hardly ever actually an officer who sits with a person inspecting.
Well, maybe
And-
I should say any type of policeman at all, administration, captain, sergeant, whoever. I don't want to be dealing with none of them now. What would I do now?
And that's where Kylie mentioned that in those types of circumstances, that it could potentially be either an administrative personnel from the legal department or an attorney.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions, second district?
Yes, I have one question.
Okay, our community citizen,
Yep,
thank you.
good evening, everyone. Busy day, so I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm curious about So this is a bill, so it's not an ordinance yet? Or where, has not been voted yet? Okay, so I'm curious, I still remember some things about this council. Excuse me. So I'm curious about how this bill sort of relates to other communities. So I'm curious about another city that has similar demographics. And, you know, if it has passed or some form of it, how do the residents of that city feel about the bill? Do they like it? Do they hate it? I like data, and I think we all like data. We like data informed decisions. So I don't want Southern to be a case study or failure or success. I would appreciate a comparison to a similar city, similar demographics. That's my request.
Thank you so much for that question. In preparing to present this ordinance to the city's common council, we did research what other communities do. We started with the largest communities in the state and kind of worked our way down to make sure that as much as we could, we were comparing apples to apples. And we did find that many of the largest communities in our state do already have fee provisions like this. And while ours is set up in the proposed ordinance at $50 per hour, some of the other communities are set at $150 flat fees. So as I noted in the chart that I showed, there's a lot of opportunity for where there's shorter videos under the city's proposed schedule to be charged at a lower rate than some of the other communities in the state where there may be a $150 fee. But there, I think when I presented last Monday, I believe we totaled that there were 16 cities and 5 counties out of the largest communities in the state that have similar fee provisions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman McBride.
Actually, I don't have any questions currently at this time because I've been in discussion all week long and getting clarity. So thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the additional information and thank you for the time. And you know, the Bible says, in all that getting, get an understanding. And I have been pleased with all of the extra work that you guys have done because I'm sure I've been a thorn. But I appreciate the time and the explanation and clarity to get a full scope of a comparison of other counties, cities as well, and also how when we talked about the fees and the time that it takes to put all the information together. So I appreciate the feedback and the presentation today.
Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Niskoski, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you. I would go see on the committee, well, Ophelia, do you have another question?
Yes. Okay, so I have a couple of constituents that I have 2 more questions. Okay, so it says, is it proposed maximum fee of $150 total per camera? So if there was 2, 3 cameras involved, I think she wants to make sure that she understands that it's up to $150 for each camera, or it's whatever time they're gonna be using. It could be $75 a camera, or it could be a total of $150, right? So
That
it could be 300.
That is correct. The cap applies per video.
Okay. And then the last question was, is it true that Indiana state law prevents different fees for copies of body cam videos? Is it possible for the person filing the complaint to obtain a copy of the video at a reduced fee, and those not filing the complaint obtain the video at an increased fee?
So the initial part of your question where you asked if it's true that state law prevents that, there is a section of state law that, and also in the way it's been interpreted by public access counselors for the state over the years, that does prohibit charging different fees to different groups of people, that the statute does require that the fees be uniform.
Okay. Okay, then I guess, the last thing I really want to know, who actually will be redacting the video?
The actual people who do the redaction work that Kylie demonstrated in her demonstration earlier is an attorney from the city's legal department. It's typically Kylie most often because she works with the police department. And also my colleague, Danny Weiss is online. She performs a lot of this work as well as our other colleagues to provide support. And we also, we have a new member of our team joining us soon who will also be performing a lot of this work, but it is done by personnel in the legal department.
Well, I thank you for the answers that you gave me, but I really do appreciate the part where it explains that everybody here has a chance to at least see the video. And there are ways that they still can get the video without actually paying a fee for it. So I'm glad that that's explained, even though I'm still a little with the price, but this is what we got to do to bring ourselves up with be in compliance with other cities. So I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Davis?
Thank you. Does the statute say that we have to do that, or are we out of compliance with with the state?
The statute provides that municipalities are able to charge a fee for the direct costs of reviewing.
They are
Body
able
camera.
to, but that's not my question. Will we be out of compliance? Does the state say that we are out of compliance now?
There's no indication that the city is out of compliance with anything
That
else.
is correct.
Thank you.
And so we are not out of compliance. The state allows us to have the option. And when you have an option, if I give you an option that you can go left or you can go right, whichever one, if you charge over this is a bill that was out in 2016, it's almost 10 years. And so we are not out of compliance because we are still in compliance with state law because it gave us an option whether we wanted to choose it or whether or not. Is that correct?
It is correct that
Thank
we,
you. Also, when it comes down to the merit board, does the merit board get a chance to see the videos?
Kylie, are you aware of the answer to that?
The merit board wouldn't typically see the videos unless there's some sort of hearing associated with it. So I'm trying to think of, so if there's a discipline hearing, then the merit board would see the videos. If there's, I guess really, mostly
So if there's-
discipline
if-
hearings are
if
when it
there's
would
a
happen.
discipline- So if there is a discipline hearing, the merit board could see that, correct?
Correct, if it's related to what's on their body cam or MVR, yes.
And when was the merit board created?
The merit board was created in November of 2024, and then it began in March of 2025.
So wasn't the community police board, the community police review board created before that?
Correct.
So the community police board was created before that, and you said that one of the reasons that you gave that they are not able to see the tapes is because of their new formation of their board. Their board has been formed for over a year, a lot longer, and yet the merit board has been formed with less time. And if they needed to have a discipline tomorrow, they could see it. But according to the members that we have, not one time has Charles King or the members been able to show it now. And that's currently. Now, we can go and say, well, we can look at it down the road or whatever. But currently, if there's a discipline tomorrow, they can see it. But the Community Review Board, which has been established to build trust and everything else, and one of the major reasons we even advocated for that at the same time that we advocated for body cameras back in 2014, all this went together. They have been established longer, but yet their members are not able to see this. Is that not correct?
Mr. Palmer,
merit
is
board
that germane
follows-
to the bill? I hate to interrupt. Is this line of what he's asking about a merit board when we're talking about Bill 4325? Is it germane to the bill?
Excuse me, she brought up the merit board in her discussion. She brought it up in her own
You
discussion.
brought it up. I'm
No,
asking,
she brought it up in her things.
is it germane to the bill?
I believe to the extent that he's talking about who
Okay.
has access, that it is germane.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted clarity.
That is so disrespectful.
I'm sorry, I
But
didn't
that's
mean, I just
very
wanted to
disrespectful
clarify.
Because she brought it up in her opening comments. If you can go back and review it, the attorney brought it up of the whole thing with, she mentioned the merit board and I brought it. You did not disrupt anybody else. Please, as
I
one of the
meant no
persons that- excuse me,
disrespect. I
as
meant
one of
no
the- Point of
disrespect.
information, point of things, I want to understand, please, in fairness, for those who don't agree with your position, we still should get the right to not be interrupted. Those who agree with your position should be able to get it. Those who disagree with should be it. It should not be that. I don't appreciate that. I don't do that to other people.
I'm
Never
sorry,
done it.
I meant no disrespect.
That was disrespectful, and
And I
now
apologize if you took it that way deeply.
It's very similar to what the other gentleman said before. Certain people get longer time and others not. We have to be fair about that. Let's just not do that. And so we have nobody, we don't have, nobody's rushing. We're okay. So back to the whole thing is, what I'm sharing is that right now, the merit board has the ability to see it, and the community review board does not have the review ability to see the access to this. And we've been telling people, well, we can go and we can have Pastor King see it. He has not had it. Now we can go create something, but currently that has not been the practice.
So to answer that question, the merit board follows after the Board of Public Safety. It actually matches the same code the Board of Public Safety follows for hearing practices. So the Board of Public Safety has been in place for a very long time, long before I even started, long before probably most people. I think it's been in existence for, I don't even want to guess, but it's been a long time. So the merit board follows the same code for disciplinary hearings, and the disciplinary hearings require a due process aspect for an officer who's being accused of the disciplinary action. The Civilian Police Review Board's purpose is to review the internal affairs investigation and make sure that the internal affairs investigation is an accurate and decent, reasonable investigation, that they agree with the findings. It is not a due process of the officer that you're required to show that evidence.
I'm clearly aware of that. I'm clearly aware. And the thing is, we rebranded the merit board last year. And so it's not considered the public safety. There are certain parameters that has changed with the membership, the makeup, and everything else with that. So it is a different type of board. The makeup of it is different and everything else. So while it has very similar actions, when you create that, that's why I purposely used the word merit board and not the public safety. When it comes down to
But further
I'm
finishing
finished.
answering that,
I'm finished.
that question.
I was just making a statement. I wasn't making a question. And so I was just responding to that. So therefore, based on everything that was shared today, and I appreciated seeing the redaction, I appreciated seeing all of that, that still argues the case that I've been making from day one. You showed a work requirement in terms of extra work for yourself, extra work for the people. And I'm just still trying to figure out, this bill says that the funds to put this in place does not go to cover that. And what will go to cover that will be if we add something in the budget. If we add monies in the budget, we do that. And it was stated that we are demanding that we cut everything else. That's the mayor that requests that you all cut the budget from that standpoint. That has not come out from us. And so the thing is, it should be something that should be, you all are arguing. Every single person has argued a additional person needs to be there. Because the funding does not go to help your issue here. When I looked at, it says it helps the city save time and money. Money? How does it help save money? And the thing about it, when the money does not go to the issue from that standpoint. And the people who are referring majority of these things based on your own numbers, the majority of these are attorneys, insurance companies, all of this high priced folk who could still have the access to be able to still do it. Not the average Joe and average Sue, whoever. That's not going to happen. But the main bulk of your argument has been that all of these big groups have been doing that, and they're the ones asking for the $150. And that's not going to stop. If we put it at $150, $200, $300, whoopity-doo, they're still going to ask for it. And then the attorneys will charge the fees back to the client. And that's how they do it. So it's work. What I've listened to it, your opening statement does not conclude with your end goal of trying to save them money. Could you please share something on that again? Because that's really a lot of my confusion right there. Because to me, that argument will be, we're about to have the budget coming up. That would be something that you would argue in the budget season and not for this.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. Where the reasons behind the bill come in is as part of helping people narrow down what they're looking for. If people or attorneys or insurance companies or media are not inclined to pay for every copy that they want, we can help them focus on the videos that they're most interested in. If they want all of them, we're happy to provide all of them. But if they want to help focus on maybe the lead officer or the person who wrote a particular report, we can help them focus on those particular videos. And it does decrease, it increases the efficiency that we're able to respond to requests. And it also makes sure that the people who are looking for videos are getting the videos that they need. And for the folks who need copies of them, that we're recovering the fees to support the body camera program.
Body camera program, but that's only the body camera program. But it doesn't, the issue of the people who really been abusing the situation are still able to do it because they still have the funds to do it. The people you described, the attorneys, the businesses, this does not stop them. And so that does not make, I can't put sense to that. Last thing that I will look at for today, I have other questions, but we'll see if they come up Monday or not. And that is when you look at the issue of, back to our colleague's question here, Mr. Gabe's question, Indianapolis and their 5 minutes to 30 minutes is $50, to 30 minutes to 60 minutes is $100, and over 60 minutes, ours is more than that. And so even their length of video fee is, when you look at it, the overall thing is $150, but Indianapolis is cheaper than what we are doing per that. It says that when you compare the South Bend, it's a difference. And so I would like for us to revisit the Indianapolis per charge thing and just get a clearer understanding of that because it's different. And even the second city, Fort Wayne, is $30 for everything. And so their individual fees, when you break it down, the Indianapolis one that are cheaper, everything's $150 at the top over over 60 minutes. But when you break it down, they do it differently. And if we're going to have to go that way, I think that we need to look at Indianapolis and I would like how you compare that on the board. And we could have a complete breakdown between Indianapolis and that would really be helpful, I think, for everybody to look at. I'm not talking about the 150. The overall with 60 minutes that's standard. But as you break it down from Indies is a different ballgame. And since we're utilizing them as our capital city, I think we need to look at it from that standpoint. And that goes back to the exact details, because I do have worked with this guy and he is a detailed person, and will give you a better understanding from that. And then we can see what their issues are, because part of his question was, what has been the response? Do they like it? Do they like it? What's been that? That's what I heard him say. And we need to look at that from that standpoint from there. And then look at our second largest city, which is Fort Wayne. They have had a $30 fee across the board of everything. How is that working for them? We have a $9 currently one working for us for the last years. They have a $30 one working. And if their $30 one is working and it's taking care of the needs that we are talking about, then why not do that? And so we can break it down from that and see the success, the failures of the Fort Wayne one and the success, failures of the Indianapolis one. Then it would give us a better understanding of what we want to do here. Because that, to me, with those are the two largest cities. I mean, we have other cities, like I've already shared in my arguments on before, that are not participating in this at all, and have been like South Bend and other counties that are not doing that. and the issue of the county. Well, the county didn't want to do homelessness. They got rid of Weed City. We picked that up. The county got rid of Portage Manor got rid of their affirmative action. We still have ours. So there's a lot of things that we don't compare the county and the city with. But the thing is, if we could look at the breakdown from everything and then have a chart and look at that, I think for the Fort Wayne and Indianapolis, a per charge from that. And that would be very helpful if you could send that to us, and I would really appreciate it.
Sure. So I put up on the screen, from the materials that we pulled together previously, specifically with respect to Indianapolis and Fort Wayne. And the Indianapolis fee schedule actually runs a little bit more expensive than ours because for the first half hour, they charge $50. Under the city's proposed fee schedule, we charge $50 an hour. So where the Indianapolis, it has 30 minutes at $50, the comparison to that would be 30 minutes under the city's fee schedule would be $25. And then the 30 to 60 minutes under Indianapolis's fee schedule, they have at 100, where 45 minutes under the city's fee schedule would be about $37 and 60 minutes would be $50. And then we don't hit $150 until you get to a 3-hour video. So it's a comparison.
But have you looked at when they start, their hours starts when they search, and we talk about the time when we edit, we redact, there's a different level of when they actually start their fees. And so I've been told by different things. So how we do our calculation is not exactly that when it comes down to Indianapolis, but I was still, that Fort Wayne is pretty much exactly that, and that's where we are.
Fort Wayne's is just per recording, so that
That is
wouldn't
correct.
change based on.
So my thing is, back to his question, what has been the success of their $30 versus the one, because both of them are two big cities, and we have two different things here. Since they solved the same problem by doing $30, because a lot of their city council people had some of the same concerns that I had and what others have shared here. What has been the success or failure of that? Have they been able to meet their goals with the $30? Did it come down, or did it have to take to the 150? Because you're saying this helps you to be able to counsel people better, to be able to help them to read the. I don't see how the money part's going to help them to counsel people better, but anyway, they are counseling people with $30. Other people say you may have to go up to $150. What has been their success, and why have they been able to counsel people at $30? And why would it take us to do 5 times as much to be able to counsel people? Those are the questions I have.
I'm not, thank you for your question. I'm not sure specifically what Indianapolis or Fort Wayne perceive as the success of their particular fee schedules, but as you can see, they do take quite different approaches.
Oh,
And the cities is somewhere in between.
Are you finished? Dr. Davis?
I'm at peace. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I believe that exhausts both of our committees.
Okay.
I think that Ms. Sherry Bolden sent him, but I would like to make a comment.
Kylie did have responses to Councilwoman White's question.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So I don't have a breakdown of all of the individual time, but I do have that in August 2024, there were 21 APRA requests related to body worn cam or motor vehicle records. Sorry, I didn't turn my camera on. Of those 21 requests, video was provided in 10 of those requests. The other ones were denied for various reasons. The total raw video was approximately 35 hours of time for those 10 videos. And like I said, I do not have a breakdown of per video, but I can get that for the Monday meeting if that's what you would like.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so before I go to clarify and ask a few questions, and then we'll move on to Ms. Bolden Simpson. Mr. Palmer, just for the record, I want to clear up, as the Chair of Personnel and Finance, if I find that something I feel may not be germane to the bill, is it within my right to ask you if this is germane to the bill during that dialogue?
You always have that discretion, as does any chair.
Okay, thank you, because I want to, for the record, I don't want this as I was disrespecting someone. As the chair, I wanted to make sure the dialogue was in the correct direction. So if you're thinking I was being disrespectful, it is within my right as the chair to ask that question.
Point of information. Yes, it is, and you're right. I never questioned that, and you're right. It's just a very interesting thing that you utilize your right on somebody that has a differences of opinion in you. You have your right to do that with every single person, but you did not do that with people who may or may not have that. But since it's clearly known that I'm on the record of not supporting this, it was very interesting that you chose to do that from me. And that was
I've been
on
on
the
the
record.
record.
That was
Let
on
me
the-
clarify, I've been on the record of not supporting this until I just got clarity, so I've been,
I understand.
so I don't want to
understand
miscommunicate that.
I
So,
clearly understand that part, but, and
Okay.
so, but
Thank
the
you.
thing is from that,
Thank
so
you.
if you only want to look at that further, that I still disagree with how that was applied.
Sure. Okay, and then just for clarification, changing the merit board, wasn't that a requirement by the state law?
Yes, it was.
And they had to, fire and police had to change.
Yes.
And in reference to the reason why you guys are coming forward, when you first came to us, I know that it was clarified this was city legal that brought this. It was not the police department, it was city legal. And some of the notes I made is city legal was underwater, that some of the redactions were taking so long, that there were, it wasn't clarified to me if it was legal people or the news, or individuals. And I don't see how that there's any way to track any demographics. So meaning we can't put people in any income levels. This form that you showed was a pretty straightforward form. But what you communicated was that you guys were underwater. And that it was very taxing. We also talked about some of the horrific scenes that have to be redacted. And I can only imagine some of the scenes of horrific things that's happened to residents or loved ones that we all have in the community. And they're having to, as Kylie showed, frame by frame, go through and redact. And it's taxing. We heard here that, it's their job. My question is, I understand it's a job, but my concern is when you brought this to us, it was like a help. Can you help us? We think this bill will help reduce that time. And I think when we talk about stressors, overworked, underwater, we're talking also about mental health. So for me, that was very questionable to hear that being said, that that's their job. That is true, it's their job. But when you have a department head coming to us asking for help to try and alleviate some of that, and what I'm hearing, it's through this process. So it makes people think a little bit more, do I need all 10 videos from all 10 police officers and their front and rear camera footage and take, as we've seen, 1 minute and 15 seconds took 10 minutes. So is it fair to say that you guys did come to us for help to help alleviate that? And can you just talk, is it individuals or both that's like, I would say, use the term spamming you, that's saying, I want everything from this incident? Is that fair?
As far as, I would say that your comments about kind of the reason that we brought this are completely accurate. As far as realizing that there's a need to relieve some of the, to make the process more efficient and to be able to get people their videos in a quicker fashion, that this process was available to us under the statute, and that being able to change the ordinance to incorporate it in a way that can alleviate some of the issues. And to the other part of your question, I apologize. Could you repeat the other?
I just talked about,
Yeah.
because when you talked, they were underwater and, Sandy, she was very passionate about it or Miss Kennedy, when she came up and talked. And I think that was because she sees that the toll it's taking on her staff when you're viewing some of these terrible crime scenes that I certainly would not want to see. And they're having to redact hours and hours and hours of this. And, you have somebody say, oh, well, that's just your job. And you're reaching out saying, if we can find a way, which through this fee schedule will help people narrow down and think, what do I really want to see at this scene? Is it this one officer? Is it all 10? And I think charging this fee makes people think a little harder about, it's just your job, just do it. And to me, that's unfair. It's unwarranted, and I do think about all the stresses and what is it like to look at that video? You know, people say, yeah, it's your job. Well, I doubt that people that were city attorneys that work for the city, that this was their primary job. Because I believe they all have other jobs that are under the city. So is that accurate?
Absolutely. And then as you were speaking, I remembered the rest of what your initial question was, and that I would say that the requests for any and all video footage do tend to be more common with the business entity type of requests. And again, I would defer if Kylie has any additional information because she works in this every day. Individuals tend to know I interacted with Officer X on this particular day, or I was in a car accident on this particular day, and I just want to see what happened. So those requests tend to sometimes be less likely to involve the any and all, or it's more likely that we can work with someone to say, do you want to start with this one video? And then if you see a reason that you want something more, then we'd be happy to try to work with you on that. But Kylie, if you have any additional information on that.
Yeah, so I would say that there's really not like a big split between the types of entities or people that are requesting the bulk of video, because right now it is so easily accessible. It's easy for someone, their response to be, well, I just want everything because I just want to know it all. I just want access to all of it. And that access is readily available in their mind because they don't have to pay any kind of fee. It's just something that they can request and they feel like they should get without any question about or any thought on their part to say, okay, what do I really need to answer the questions that I'm trying to answer? And they don't need to explain that to us either. There are some people who don't want to explain why they need it. And that's in the code as well, that they don't have to give a reason of why they want this. So we might not know why they want it, and it doesn't matter or factor into what we're trying to do. But part of it, as has been mentioned, is to limit whoever is reviewing this video, whoever is reviewing it, whether it be legal or if it ever is assigned to anyone else, that we not be wasting time on unneeded videos that really just you really don't need the backseat of the officer's vehicle where nobody's in the backseat. You just don't need it. It doesn't show you anything, but it's just taking someone's time to watch it and listen to it. Same thing with a security. So like for a murder, there's going to be officers who are essentially security, that they're just making sure that nobody goes onto the scene. They're literally standing there, seeing nothing. They're just looking off into the road. You don't need the security. You might feel like you want everything, but if you look at that police report, if you take the time to actually wade through just reading the police report that you could probably also have access to via APRA, and that is not going to cost you very much, you can weed through and see, who do I really need and what camera do I really want to request? And it's asking the public to kind of take that extra effort to look into what you really need and coming back so that whoever has to review it is really only reviewing what you actually need and what is going to be worthwhile of their time to spend sitting in front of a computer, redacting, listening to, and again, whether that be legal or anybody else.
Okay, thank you. We'll move back on to Ms. Sherry Bolden Simpson.
Thank you. Kylie, as your demonstration confirmed what I suspected, that this is a tedious process. So it's still sounding, at first it sounds like it's a work issue. And we've already established that it's the legal team that's doing it. Thank you for asking that question, Councilwoman Gooden Rogers. So my question is it possible to hire a person that has expertise in the area of editing films so this can be done more efficiently and take less time? And at the same time, counsel people to narrow down their requests. Don't you think these two things together would work to alleviate some of the workload? And then I have another question.
So the counseling people to try to narrow their request, as you mentioned, last meeting, that's, a big part of this. And then, it's anticipated that, the effects of, putting this proposed ordinance into effect would, make the work more manageable. So it, for the existing staff that works on it.
So that follows up another question. Like when you're doing an experiment, you have to, if you really want to know the variables, you have to test one at a time. So my question is, if you put this great effort into counseling, then you could see what effect that does it have on getting people to narrow down, because I am sure there is somebody out there that wants everything and anything, and they probably have the money to pay for it anyway. But most people really don't want to wade through 3 hours of videos for something. So that's what I'm saying. Why not try? Let's put this effort into counseling people and see if we can have an effect on that. It's sounding like that hasn't been made. It's like we want to charge this fee and we want this deterrent, because that's kind of what it is. At the same time, I'm proposing that, yes, counsel the people. And what about that first question of, is that legal to have someone that has expertise? Because the little that I've done, I know this takes a long time, and it would take me 5 hours to do what somebody else probably could do in an hour. Is that possible? Is it possible to hire a person that has expertise in the area of editing film so it can be done more efficiently, thus taking less time?
So it wouldn't necessarily be expertise in editing video. It's more of just navigating the Polaris system, as as Kylie indicated in her redaction
That's what I mean.
demonstration. It's going frame by frame and making sure that you understand what needs to be redacted. So just hiring someone with a video editing background wouldn't necessarily solve the issue. But to the other part of your question regarding the counseling portion of it, I think Kylie mentioned that even trying that now, the companies that are looking for any and all video, they would likely still say that they still wanted all the videos.
Yeah, even with the cost, if they have the money. One more question. I don't want to take it too. So, since I'm still feeling like it's a work issue, and I definitely wouldn't want to see all the gory stuff, but what would be the impact on the city or South Bend Police Department if funding came through the budget process? Because as the first question about where does the money go, it doesn't go to the legal department. So what would that have on the dash body cam program if this was just funded? Or this is just about you don't want so many people asking for videos?
So the funds from the fees go towards supporting the body camera program. It goes towards the acquisition of cameras, training on cameras, and to support other costs. And so I know the body camera program is important, and so any fees that are collected through this ordinance would go towards supporting that program.
If we had the fee schedule like Fort Wayne, would those fees, even though they're quite less, they would go to the body cam?
Any fees that were adopted pursuant to this part of Indiana law go towards those different categories for body cameras.
Okay, so just one last point. We are not out of compliance.
That is correct.
This was the state gave us it's not like the merit board change that we had to do. This is a different thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the last person we have is Pastor Lee. Our committee ends at 7:30, so
Okay.
I'm sorry, Pastor Lee, President Lee, so that we can get to the public comments.
All right, thank you for being here tonight. A lot of speculation has been made about people not being able to afford the fees. Thank you for the breakdown of people still can get videos without paying for the work for the work to review them. From the work that I previously did, I know that people have come in and watched the videos. They saw what they needed to see and didn't request for a hard copy. I also know that as Kylie was showing us how to redact video, you can redact video, and then once you hit process or rendering, that takes so much time to do. So I understand the amount of work that goes into having to do that and to produce it on a hard copy. Everybody is talking about people not being able to pay for it, but you can see the video. If you have an issue, see the video for free. You do not have to pay for it. People who don't have to pay for it are attorneys who are part of a civil court case when they use the subpoena power to get videos. So if you're somebody who has a lawyer, which if you've had an instance with the police, you would probably have you a lawyer, the lawyer is still able to subpoena the video and get the video free. So again, that's not stopping somebody from being able to have the video for free if you have a lawyer who will go through the subpoena process. Also, people can watch the video through the Civilian Police Review Board. And as Kylie said, we haven't gotten to that place yet, but that could be the next way of dealing with that. And other groups like the Family Justice Center, Internal Affairs, and the Prosecutor's Office. I've seen people go to Internal Affairs, they schedule a conference, and the captain there goes through the video with the individual so that they get the opportunity to see it. So it's not the barrier of people not being able to have access. I think we need to make sure we understand that. There are several ways for people to be able to see this video. The problem we have is that we have insurance companies, bloggers. There are people who blog, who send out these APRA requests. They get the videos, they put them on their websites, and they get views on it, and they make money off of it. They're making money off of what happens with the police department. And so they're not the little person that's being slighted in any way. They're making, and some of these websites make hundreds of thousands of dollars based on how many views they get. Again, insurance companies, lawyers, bloggers, and it's only if you want to have the copy of the video as a hard copy, because then legally they have to make sure that within the standard of the law that if they release this video, it has to be properly redacted, and that's the time consuming part. So I know there's been so much misinformation out there. And then even how you broke down our fee schedule, this is helpful to look at. 15 minutes is $12.50. The county's 15 minutes is $25. There's still half of what that. 30 minutes is $45. 30 minutes is $25. That's helpful to know. I think, and I know that at one point we say we don't look at other cities, and then at some point we do look at other cities. We also have to look at the size of the cities that are compared to us. And so again, we tried to figure out a way. How do we reduce this how do we reduce this barrier and we cannot treat any other person separately. We can't do it for residents. We can't do it, if the insurance people or the lawyers have to pay, we can't do, the state law will not allow us to do that. And then not only that, the money doesn't go to the legal department, but it goes back to help fund this program, which that is by state law, correct?
That's correct.
So even if we wanted the money to go to the legal department for the people who are working, state law says we can't do that. And so I thank you for your information. And again, it's only for people who want to have a hard copy.
Exactly.
And that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, President Lee. It is 7 o'clock, so now I'm going, I appreciate everybody's comments today and all the questions that were answered, and I thank you guys for taking those questions here. We are going to go ahead and open up to the public hearing portion of this meeting. Is there anyone here wishing to speak in favor of Bill 43-25? If you can approach the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Alice Pickens, 234 North Albert, South Bend, Indiana. My question is, I'm kind of confused here. Because what it said, what does the bill 4325 says? In here, you saying the cost is $50 per hour. According to the young lady on the video, she said sometimes it might take 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, might stop, come back the next day and continue. But then you also stated that the cost won't be charged no more than $150 per cost. I think this is a dumb bill.
So you're speaking in favor or against?
Against the
Okay.
bill.
Okay, so this was in favor. So let me clear the.
I'm not in favor of
Ms.
this.
White, do I, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to be clear because I asked in favor, so I don't want to have anything misinterpreted. Is just, okay. So is there anybody here in favor or online?
I do not see anyone in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Pickens, and I'm sorry, I just had to clarify that because that was the question and that's how the process that we have here. So now if there's anybody wishing to speak against, so now if you would like to come up and speak against the bill. You don't have anything else?
No, come
You
on,
can
'cause you're
come
right.
up.
So
It
you
is
can
the
be included in
process.
record.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Okay, is there? Yeah, I don't want to stop you from, but I did want to make sure that that you knew that that was for the people speaking in favor for clarity. Okay, and there's nobody, yes.
Can I ask a question to Bob? Although she didn't know that she was at the portion of speaking for it or against it, but she was speaking against it, would it go on the record that she spoke against it?
Yes, because she said that she
Okay.
was speaking against it.
Okay,
I think
Thank you.
that's clear from the recording.
Okay,
okay.
Thank you.
Make sure.
I appreciate that.
okay. And is there anyone else wishing to speak against the bill? I do see one person online. Is there anybody here in the chamber?
I do not see anyone in the chamber, but
Okay.
I do see one individual online. Can you please unmute yourself and state your name and address?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Jordan Geiger, 302 South Falcon Street. I just have a comment and 2 questions for the presenters. My comment is that I'm a little concerned about the use of the term misinformation, because what I've heard tonight from council members is that, one, suggestions or statements that we're out of compliance with other cities and with the state law if we don't pass this. That's misinformation. Also, a comment that bloggers are making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of these videos. That to me seems to be misinformation, and I think that should be corrected so that we don't confuse the public. My 2 questions are, one, is there any evidence that shows that that there's a correlation or causation that by implementing or adopting these charges, that other cities have seen a drop off or reduction in the number of requests for body camera footage or body camera videos from businesses or insurance companies or whomever? And then two, and maybe you can break that down categorically, right? Like, you know, residents, individuals, law firms, insurance companies, just so we can see if there's a difference. And then my second question is related to, because this was brought up in the last meeting, and I wanted to ask about this, but I forgot. You mentioned, and maybe you addressed this, and I might have missed it. I'm sorry, but you mentioned that there are out of state companies or out of companies outside of South Bend that are requesting these videos, such as insurance companies, law firms. Are these insurance companies and law firms representing individuals who have been involved in a crash or some kind of incident that to which the police responded, or are they like what is what are the reasons for which folks are requesting, these companies are requesting these videos? Are they representing folks who live here in South Bend? And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions. Would you like to respond to that, or would you like to gather that information and respond to that on Monday? I'm not clear if you have that information or not.
So we are trying to work on determining any correlations between some of these cities that were in our city comparison and the levels of their recording volume. The issue there is that it's sometimes difficult to track how many of the requests are for recordings. I know we had that issue in trying to come up with our totals to talk about as part of these presentations. And so depending on how other municipalities track those numbers, that could be difficult to find. However, with respect to the second question, yes, that is typically the case, that if we get a request from an attorney or an insurance company or like an investigation company, they're typically looking into an incident that happened in the city. It could theoretically be a car accident between two non-residents, but it is typically that one of those entities is either the insurer for someone or the other party's insurer or an attorney for someone who was involved in an incident in South Bend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else wishing to say anything before? Ms.
Yes.
Cordelia?
Yeah.
And Ms. White, being that you're the chair, do you have anything else to comment on before we come back to the council? I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing.
My comments is actually addressed to the council, looking at this process that have experienced and looking at when we do get, you know, ordinances or bills coming before us, you know, how we need to really assess those, knowing that if it's going to encourage a lot of public input, assigned to a first committee, and then, you know, we have a working session. We do have the opportunity for caucuses to talk, you know, amongst ourselves and see where our council members are at, not in terms of how they're going to vote, because I would never ask that question. But as you have, as we have experienced, we've received a number of questions from council members for clarity. And I think that's all right. But is there a better way, a better process that we can do as a council? Because again, you know, we want to make sure that we give our public ample opportunity for input. So I may be putting something together just for consideration as we move forward. We will be having, you know, bills and things coming before us, you know, and then the question is who is this going to impact? What is the outcome, the whys that we need to have that level of discussion? That's just my recommendation.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Um,
Yes, Dr. Davis?
I'm glad we had another meeting. I'm glad we had the first one. I'm glad we had the second one. I'm glad we had this one. I think that the question that was asked regarding Does having a $150 fee, or even the other cities who have $30, does it reduce what we are wanting to do? It's an awesome question. And we need to have the data before we make this decision, because whether it's hard, we are getting information that they're saying, based on their data, based on the data that our team has had in South Bend, they believe that it's going to reduce. So if the other cities have already practiced this for several years, they've had to have some data, and it takes what we just call qualitative data and calling them and seeing what they have, because many of these cities have had, these 16 cities or counties have had this in place for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Is it working? Is it not working? I teach policy at several of my schools, and the question they're doing in week 6 is a very simple question. Is the policy working, or is it not working? Who is it helping? Who is it not helping? And then the next, in week 9 would be their recommendations. So who is it helping? Who is it not helping? Everybody needs to know that. And you need to know that as a part of your policy justification. And just because we have different opinions on this does not mean that what I'm saying or what Councilman or President Lee is saying is misinformation. Okay, we have see it different ways and everything from that standpoint. What Councilwoman White or what Councilwoman Gooden Rogers may say, or what we have different opinions. And I really think that we need to give everybody the time to share it. If we have differences, not to say anything about well, that's misinformation. We all look at this in a different way. And yes, it can be emotion, and yes, it can be this. The police tapes over and the police issues and cameras has been an emotion issue since we first brought it up 11 years ago. And it was a lot of tension when we did. And during that time, it was even worse because we had all the Trayvon Martin issues going on around the country. We had a lot of things going on. Stand Your Hands and the thing down in Florida with Zimmerman and all this other stuff. So in the climate that we brought this up, it was a lot worse than what we're dealing with now. So, but it was important that we bring it up and have all these different things. So I'm glad that we've had it. And I still believe this is a work issue, and I hope that we can correct it in that way. But if the other ways go, at least let's see what these other cities who implemented this dollar, what's the data on that, to make a decision before we have that data. It, to me, is a concern. And just like the budget, we have several hearings that will be here next week. We're not making that final decision until October because it gives us time. If you take a few weeks to plan on this, I think we can all come with a final resolution that we can all justify to the people when they come up, and it's better. So I thank you for the time.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. President Lee.
Yes, I just want to say again, thank you. As I'm not on either one of these committees, but I thought it was very important to be here because this is a very important issue. So thank you for tabling it and giving us more opportunity to get information. I think that the information that you've given us helps us to be able to see where your reasoning behind doing it, and one of the biggest things was who will it impact, and so again, we may not all see things the same way, but it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to have dialogue. The only way to get to the point where you understand is by asking questions. And so, as Ms. White said, it's very important when we have bills like this to work together with legal so that we can, council can influence and be able to share with legal how best this is going to impact the residents of the city, and then also allow us to be able to ask the questions to get full clarity on what we're going to vote on. So again, thank you. It's okay for us not to rush something, to take our time and to get input. So thank you.
Ms. Bolden Simpson, I'm just going to go down the line. We'll skip Dr. Davis since he spoke and go to Gabe and then Ms. Ophelia.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. We did need another look at this. There were some things I didn't know in the caucus because my solution was, we should just charge ABC 57, the median, then we should charge them something different. I didn't learn until Monday that the state statute said if you're going to charge a fee, everyone has to be charged the same fee. So I had to go back to ground one. I want to emphasize two things. the issue about data and gathering data and research, just as research the impact of charging fees, I still want you to do an analysis of very purposeful counseling of people to narrow down their requests and see what impact that has. Also, gather the data from that. Second point, the lady that came up to speak against it, I feel you have to understand that some people have had some experiences. They've had some experiences and they are emotional and they could be 30 years. I still remember in 1970 that a police officer shot at like my 12-year-old brother. And there were no body cams then, unarmed 12-year-old boy. And you have to understand, do not make these decisions without that being, knowing that for some people, the history of certain groups of people in the police has not been good, and we wanted to get better. We really wanted to get better, and I definitely don't want to rush into this. And the little progress that we made, we just start going back. Thank you.
Gabe, you have anything?
Thank you for your time. And members of the public, thank you for your time as well.
Miss Ophelia Gooden-Rogers.
I'd like to say that I'm sorry that we did not have what I expected to see here tonight, because this was the purpose of this, was to hold back again so that we could give the public a chance to come out and speak and let us know about which way we should be going up here, or give us a better idea of their thinking. I also would like to apologize to you, Jenna, because I thought in one of the meetings you said in compliance with the cities around us, okay? So that was my mishearing, okay? So that's why I used the word compliance. But I also would like to ask you, with this bill being voted in, should it be, how many cities around us have the same fee? Do you just about know what that would be? If not, I can wait till Monday, but if you got an answer for us.
So since we looked at the 16 cities that we gathered information on to date, since we started from kind of the largest cities and worked our way down, some of the communities are in central Indiana and in and around the Indianapolis area. However, we did find that Gary, Hammond, and I believe also Portage have fees.
The same fee that we're dealing with, that we're talking about,
I don't
150?
recall Portage's off the top of my head, but I know that our research indicated that Gary and Hammond charged the flat 150.
Now, one more question. I thought I heard someone say that this has been going on since 2016. Is that what I heard?
That's correct.
I want to make sure that I don't want to be off again. I want to make sure 2016, this same issue has been on and off the table.
It's been- They passed it in 2016.
Okay.
Before we had our.
Yeah,
we've been doing-
Yeah, this issue hasn't been on the table per se with the council.
Oh.
But it was passed by the state in 2016. And over the past, I don't know, however many years, different municipalities has adopted this, but it has not come before this body.
So with it being adopted in 2016, so then you have actually seen the effect of how it's been abused or misused or been good either way. So there is like maybe some data on how it has been used by the public. Does that make sense?
Potentially.
Okay, so we do have something like that. So if you get a chance, then you can probably give us a little bit Monday, if you can. Okay, or you can just send me an email. You don't even have to discuss it no more. Just send me an email. Thank you.
We are trying to gather that information currently. It just is a matter of how quickly the other communities get back to us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You have anything else? And I would like to thank you both for coming today, for hearing us out. And we only had a couple people show up. I thought we would have more as well. So at this time, this meeting is adjourned. We'll see everybody on Monday. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
How you doing? Okay, see everybody. All right.